The pros and cons of freight dispatching. I think a lot of people don't talk about this. A lot of people think that a lot of stuff is easy, and they think that things are just handed to you and you gain knowledge through just sitting there and not doing nothing. I had a couple people that I'm going to consider people I know a couple years ago told me I was lucky that I had 2 incomes in my family, and not once did they consider maybe I worked and learned a niche. Maybe I learned it. Maybe it was not excuses of poor pitiful me. Maybe it was from going to work. So the pros and cons. Well, to start with, depending on where you work, you may be outnumbered. So to one of you, there might be, let's say you run a fleet of 50. Let's say you run a fleet of turning 200 people in a night. You're severely outnumbered as far as your job performance goes. That's definitely a con to the job. Every problem becomes yours. So if you don't want that, don't sign up for it. A lot of people make businesses and they hire people to run them, and they're not hands-on, and then they'll go through and they'll start a bunch of stupid stuff that does not matter to start controversy amongst one another, to say who's going to rat on who's going to be a better leader. And honestly, I don't understand why that is. Depending on how you get freight, depends on how successful anybody's going to be. If you got 2 people that have never worked a day in their life in the freight industry, they're not going to be super successful. They're really not going to know anything other than just there to hang out. And I used to let that bother me, but then I realized that we were living in totally different times, and none of that stuff really matters. I do believe to be successful, you're going to have to stay on top of things. You're going to have to be a little bit more proactive. You're going to have to stay ahead of the game. And I do believe in transparency with people, but that's not what your boss is going to want. You can be transparent yourself as a human being, but there are some golden rules in life that people can't touch. So there's a lot of people in this world that are dishonest. Some brokers are dishonest. Some carriers are dishonest. So that's another con to the business. I found myself being of service to people, but I will tell you, cut it short, because you will find out that you are their psychologist, their therapist. They like to talk, they like to tell you their problems, they like to make things your problems. That's not your problem to begin with. I know people automatically think white people are prejudiced, and I'm going to tell you, I have fought more for everybody as an equal than I did anything. But when you can't figure out what makes somebody what they want, and they haven't structured their business in a way in which there's procedures that they go by, I'm really not one to guess what it is that you want. The goal is for everybody to make money. So if you sold them a truck and you know that they have to have X amount of dollars per week to be able to survive, to afford that, I think it's very important as a dispatcher for you to try to achieve that for them and help aid them. There's some people you have to babysit. It's a huge babysitting job sometimes. You have to stay on top of them because they don't know their hours of service. They don't know when to leave out. They don't even try to know. And I'm not going to take it on a lack of knowledge. I'm going to take it on, they chose the occupation they chose. And it's up to them to be the best of service and integrity they can be, because that's all you sell is your time alive, space on a trailer, and service at a transportation company. That's all selling. So what I would find is that, especially females in the workplace, a lot of females, because they're so caring and nurturing, will take on the responsibilities of everybody for themselves. And what I witnessed was nobody was taking on the responsibility for themselves. So when you sit down and you decide that you want to do that, and you want to get the best of the best to help somebody, you need to say, how am I better serving myself and them in what I do for a living? My why is different than some people's why. The man that owns the trucks, he wants to sell them to you. He wants to take your money from you, and he wants to keep you in debt. The man that cares about what he sold you is going to sell you, hey, we go to Dallas to Birmingham and back. They're going to give you a reason to be home every other day. Everybody needs some kind of stability in their life, or else they're not going to work for you. A lot of these companies now are 1099, no insurance, no benefits. They're just simply a paycheck. And most people don't care because they're probably on some kind of government assistance or some kind of insurance where the government is taking care of their family. I personally say the pros are, there's a lot of cops in this world. There's a lot of people in this world that don't make $30 an hour. They don't make $50,000 a year. They don't make $65,000 a year. So if you go to a company, you can get those pretty much on a generic start-in price. But do you want to work for a percentage? Well, I personally think that every job needs an incentive, and if you're working for some guy that will not give you the incentive to be a good worker, you aren't going for it. So actually, the person I was working for wanted to take money from me, and that's fine. I'm not entitled to anything. I'm not entitled to anything but to live and to die and to pay taxes. But when somebody wants to play with you like that, you can take that a little bit more serious. When people are trying to keep your money and throwing fits of outrage, you need to take back your power from them. I don't want to be affiliated with that. Have I had to make a lot of people do shit they didn't want to do? Absolutely. Absolutely. Have I done a lot of stuff that I don't want to do? Absolutely. But what got redundant to me was the fact that nobody took that serious. Nobody. They were looking at a screen, not even knowing when the drivers were asleep, when they were awake, what they were doing, nor did they care. The brokers are out of control. They don't care. So if you give them your driver's phone number, which a lot of them require MacroPoint, some kind of tracking app now, they still call them. They still call them and wake them up. They do not care that you were sleeping. They do not care. So once you realize that, it's a whole different ballgame. So I always ask, no matter where the freight came from, please call me, not my driver. Please call me, not my driver. Because you're expecting this man to drive 11 hours, man or woman, my bad. There's a lot of females, mad respect for you. You're expecting them to drive 11 hours every single day of their life and work a total of 14. Every single day of the week. The union protects them. They do a 6-day, but the DOT, actually does a 7-day, and you can always recap. So, people ask me, do dispatchers really need to know that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why would you not? Why would you not know how long it takes somebody and how much they work? And why would you not care? So if you're one of those dispatchers out here, they're just calling and thinking you're doing something about booking a load, you didn't do nothing but make a phone call. If you're protecting your driver, you're communicating with your driver, and you're hitting the needs of him, that's your market. It's not going to be sitting down with anyone else. Those are my thoughts of the day. Have a great day.